Hey guys, what's up, how are you doing, and welcome back to the channel. Today we have another 3rd Age Total War Wars of Arda battle replay for you. This time, instead of between me and another player, it is between me playing as, once again, Eryn Galen against the AI who has been playing who's playing as the Adunaroth Empire, also known as Umbar. In my previous video covering this mod, I said that it was set in the 2nd Age. Bilbo, the developer of the mod, has since said that I was wrong. So, yeah, it's in the 3rd Age, actually. Which I should have realised considering it was called 3rd Age Wars of Arda. But let us go through the army comps. I'll actually start with Umbar since I've gone for a very similar army to what I went with the last time. Whereas you haven't actually seen Umbar yet, most likely. He's gone for the numenoreans, which are a bodyguard tier, I'm assuming armor-piercing archer unit, that wield great swords in melee. So very similar to the ones of the north over in Reforged. They'll be very deadly, and I'm definitely going to want to deal with them fairly quickly. Then we have the Gilded Legion of Umbar. This is another one of Umbar's bodyguard tier units. Very elite sword and board infantry unit. 2 hit points. Once again, they're going to be a pain in the backside to deal with. And they will most likely get plenty. Well, they'll fill their boots in terms of kills. Moving on to the centre, we have some Adunaroth Legion cohorts. I believe there's 3 of them. Yeah, 3 Adunaroth Legion cohort. They're basically sword and board infantry, but they have precursor javelins that they can fire. I think they have 2 volleys of javelins. I mean, you can see the javelins as they're running here. So you throw those javelins and then they're sword and board infantry and melee. I'd say, I think these guys have like mid-tier armor values with their padded leather armor, which looks like it has some sort of iron finish to it. But yeah, these guys, just Umbar's basic-ish sword and board infantry units, but they have something extra to offer. Then the Adunaroth garrison, I've given the AI 2 of these. These are the spear variant of it. Yeah, I've given the AI 2 of them. There's spear variants of the Adunaroth Legion cohort. Albeit these guys don't have that precursor javelin or 2 that the Adunaroth Legion cohort have. These guys are just spears in melee, bog standard spears with medium armor. Then we have the Corsair Gladiators. I've given him a unit of these just to... Nope, I've given him 2 units of these apparently. Just to pad out the army a bit in terms of numbers. These guys have armor piercing, 201 of them in units, so they're very numerous. I could potentially find myself overrun with my lower numbers elven force. It's got 2 units of Corsair pikes. Definitely somewhat scared of pikes, even ones as low tier as these. Once again, they're Corsairs, so very numerous, albeit not the greatest in melee. So if I can close up with them, these guys will drop very quickly due to their low stats. However, their true purpose is to just have a staunch line of pikes and stop me from being able to actually get one-on-one with them and deal with them fairly efficiently. Grudge from the auxiliary spears. These guys basically just the worst version of the Adunaroth garrison. Lighter armor, probably a very similar, if not better, shield value maybe. Definitely similar, and slightly more numbers to them. These guys obviously will have lower stats. And they're just auxiliaries, so they won't be up to too much. Moving back, I've given him a few of those. There's some Horizon Auxiliary Skirmishes as well. Yep, these guys javelins predominantly, and then they bring out some swords in melee. They're not the greatest in melee, and we can definitely beat them in melee fairly easily with almost anything, I'd say. Similar story with Corsair Archers, albeit these guys shoot arrows before they go into melee. 2 units of them for them. With Adunaroth Lancers, just giving them a cavalry unit in case I decide to sally out, which I might not, depends on what my army comp is. And just wanted to see how they looked and how they fared, really. But yeah, in fairness, Umbar actually looked fairly, like, cool. Obviously these guys are black numenoreans. They have quite an, I don't want to say that's a Cuban face mask they're wearing there. See, Adunaroth Lancers, Lance Cavalry, 1 hit point, so we'll find out how they do in this battle. Then their general is in the Even Legion of Umbar. These guys are a 2 hit point pike unit, very similar to the Guardians from Reforged, in fact, albeit that's similar to the Naru Sentinels. They have that shield value, which makes them even more resilient to arrows, which coupled with their armor means I'm not going to have much fun dealing with them at range. Yeah, 2 units of Corsair Archers, Auxiliary Skirmishers. And last but certainly not least from Umbar, we have the Castamir's Rangers. These guys, they've changed a fair bit from Reforged insofar as they're not body piercing, but they are armor piercing crossbows. They will dish out a lot of stopping power. They'll be fairly efficient against my bodyguard tier units, you'd have to say. And they wield their sabers, their customary sabers, in melee, similar, well, exactly the same as the way they do in Reforged. But moving on to my army, I have 2 units of my Thori Pillin on the walls, just trying to get a few bodies off. These guys are poison archers, I believe. They may be armor piercing, I'm not 100% sure, I'll have to check that. Again, sorry Bill if I'm messing these facts up. Unfortunately, I'm still fairly new to the mod, actually, despite the fact that I've been working on it for a little bit, just helping them out with some work. But I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more work on the mod, and if I'm doing that, I need to know my stuff. So that's what I'm going to be doing. These guys, archers at range, of course. Then they pull out the Zweighand, well, falchions, really, 2-handed, similar to falchion kind of weapons in melee, so they'll be fairly good in melee, you'd have to say, albeit not really the highest defensive values. The Hini Dawa, however, once again, very similar to the Mythori Pillin, albeit better at range and slightly worse in melee, since less damaging, due to the fact they wield 2 short swords, as they dual wield short swords as opposed to having 1 great weapon. Guarding this, I have 2 units of Sylvan Spears, just bog standard Elven Spears. They're not going to be the worst, but they won't be the greatest thing I have in my arsenal. This guy's really just there to hold the line, and because they're elves, they can actually dish out a fair bit of damage while they hold. So that's good. Then, as we move back into the city, have the Earthner Eryn. This isn't my bodyguard unit, this is just a bodyguard tier unit. That I don't really like to put my bodyguards into bodyguard tier melee infantry. What I quite like to do is put it into like arch units like these guys, the tier Tirithot and Eryn. But back to the Earth and Eryn, these guys very damaging, armor piercing, nothing that the Adunaroth Empire would really like to go up against them. I mean, probably their most effective way of dealing with them would be the Minoladu Nazrukadar, and even then that's only from range. These guys would just beat the brakes off of anything they go up against. Then we have the Tin and Emindweir. These guys, I didn't bring them in the last battle because, well, I didn't really have enough funds, but I brought them this time. They're an axe thrower unit, so they're armor piercing at range with their axes. And then they are actually a fairly good dual wielding axe unit in melee. Bodyguards here, of course, that 2 hit points is also going to play a big part. One important thing is these guys, and basically all of my Archforce and the Sylvan Spears and Sylvan Slingers and stuff like that, like the Sylvan units and the archers, except for the bodyguards here are archers, are fairly low in armor values. Like they're not super low, but if you shot at them, they wouldn't really like it very much. And back here I've got 2 Mythori Hathel and 2 Mythori Ape. These guys are the higher armor value soldiers. Mythori Ape, Polar, I wouldn't say howards, I say they're pike units. In fact, they're so heavy infantry as opposed to spearmen, so that's actually huge. Do these guys suffer the spear malice then? So they're not spearmen. I'll have to ask Bilbo that when I next see him. Then we have the Mythori Hathel. These guys are just great axe infantry. They're gonna do fair chunk of damage over a fairly short period of time, but due to that lower melee defense, they may find themselves wanting in terms of just their staying alive power. Then we have the Tirithot and Eryn. These guys are armor piercing, split shot missiles that can dish out an awful lot of damage upon the enemies. And then once they've done all that, they can pull out their 2-handed axes and help out in melee. Of course, these guys are very elite at both ranged and in melee, and they'll dish out a fair damage in both as well. Also, Thranduil, I've got him in this unit because, as I've said before, I like to put them in bodyguard tier archer units, or like high tier archer units that are good in melee, so that he gets the good stats, but also I'm far less likely to have to put him into melee, and it means I can use my high tier, like bodyguard tier melee infantry as just that force to be reckoned with in melee, as opposed to having to worry about, oh my god, what if my general dies, you know. Then back here behind the town square, I have 3 units of Sylvan Slingers. We saw just how deadly they were in the last battle on the channel. These guys are armor piercing missiles. They're the longest. They have the longest range for the armor piercing missiles, so be able to shoot over the bridge and into all of the Umbar soldiers that pass into the city and attempt to go to the town square, attempt to go to the tap. And then their mace, when I want to say in melee, so they have arm piercing at ranged and in melee, and they have those little shields. They're somewhat resilient to arrow fire, as well as having them in melee, so they have a higher melee defense. Without further ado, let us begin. So you can already see that we are slowly but surely picking all of these guys apart. The Adunaroth garrison has taken many casualties, albeit nowhere near as many as the Corsair Gladiators. But seeing that they've almost got the ladders up on the walls, I realise, hang on, I'm going to have to take my archers off here. So I need my archers to be able to shoot, really, don't I? And you can see that
the enemy have
the
ladders
siege
at
towers
the
are
walls.
advancing.
Repel the attackers. Give them steel.
and these guys have reached the walls. I'm moving across some spearmen to just make sure that they can't cause us any issues. And what that does mean is that I'm only going to have one unit of spearmen to guard the
enemy are
gates
battering
and these two
down our
entrances.
gates.
But I have managed to get my archers down off the walls, which is huge. These guys will be able to shoot at them as they come up on the walls. They actually have a decent angle for
Our
it.
cunning foe has reached our walls with their siege tower. We must repel them.
The Gilded Legion of Umbar have made it up here. So what I've done is I've got the tin and them, and we are here just as axe throwers ready to throw axes at them, if I'm being honest. I've got a line of Mythori 8, just pole arms there. You need Dara behind there, so just behind them I've got the Tirithar and Eryn. Although I do realise that there is a unit of deadly archers with great swords coming up onto the walls now.
Has reached our walls with their siege tower.
So what I do is I bring over a unit of Mythori Hathel, these great axes. So even if they don't win, they'll stop them from firing, which is good enough. You can see that the Corsair archers are actually firing over the wall, which is... I'm not sure just how good of a strategy that is. Because you're going to be shooting up into the air. You can see they've broken through the gate and they're now charging for some Adunaroth garrison into my waiting line of silver spears. Well, unfortunately, we're now basically just converging upon the Adunaroth garrison. And this is a fight that my Sylvan Spears should win. However, the Adunaroth Legion cohort are getting some much needed javelin bodies into the flank of these Sylvan Spears. Nope, they're not even doing that. Sending javelins into the Mythori Peeling. Which is actually not a half bad idea. They're trying to pull through with their Adunaroth Lancers. Unfortunately for them, it's not going to go too well against Spearmen. However, what that has done is basically got Adunaroth Legion cohort flank. They're moving these Corsair Gladiators over to assist the Min-Lazu Nazrakadar. And what I've decided is, Mythori Hathel, yes, they're a good unit. They won't be able to beat Min-Lazu Nazrakadar bodyguard tier unit without some form of support. And that's where the Tin and M and Dweir come in. They're armor piercing missiles, so they'll do very well against them. And they have a brilliant Tangles fire into the flank. And you can see these guys are really starting to drop like flies now. Unfortunately over here, well actually, it's not so bad now. But I have my Earthman Eryn, who are just being proper tanks here. And dishing out, well, they've beaten back these Adunaroth Legion cohort. These guys are beaten. Oh, these guys are just pushed through. So I'm holding them off with the Mythori Peeling. I've got another unit of Mythori Peeling, just trying to finish off losing their bodies in there. I'm desperately trying to hold them back with units of Mythori Hathel. Now unfortunately, while these guys, yes, they will probably get a fair few kills, there's just so many enemies that they're just going to get outflanked and outmaneuvered. You can see that they're already shaken. And you can see that my Mythori 8, they're not doing a half bad job at keeping these Gilded Legion of Umbar at bay. And with the Corsair Gladiators getting in there, some of them in there, just that sheer damage dealing capability, and they're also getting around the flank, which is a massive issue. They've managed to outflank my Mythori Hathel up here as well. So it's just a lot of me getting outmaneuvered, unfortunately. We have almost managed to deal with these Min-Lazu Nazrakadar, continuing to throw in axe thrower bodies. So I mean, like, the more of them we can kill, the better, because it will mean a much easier time for my Mythori Hathel. These guys, they're not looking too good. Killed off a fair few of them. They're taking massive quantities of javelin fire. I've actually had to send in this final unit of my 3 pillar just to try and stop these guys from try and stop their momentum, because all I have left remaining defending this is 1 unit of my 3 and I'm gonna have 5 my 3 Hattle coming back. And then it's down to my Tirithar and Eryn, which I did move back in the end because they're definitely needed here far more than over there. So 3 units of Silver Slingers as well, nothing to be snoozed at. These guys can dish out a fair amount of damage. The Mythori Pillin, they're just getting overrun, very similar to the Mythori Hattle from before. The Silver Spears as well. My Earthling and Eryn also getting just overrun and overwhelmed, which is not great for them. It's just the sheer amount of numbers, really, that are coming their way. Means that they're not faring too well. Also, they're somewhat surrounded here, so yeah. What I am doing is bring these Silver Spears, because they managed to deal with what was remaining over there. They were to try and deal with these Adunaroth Legion cohort. Of course, these guys will outclass them due to the fact they're elves and these guys aren't. They won't outclass them by as much as I would have liked, and it will take a while for Spearmen to just fight through 69 Adunaroth Legion cohort, especially if they add another 54 into the mix. Now they managed to deal with my Mythori Pillin. It's not looking too good. What I'm doing is I'm bringing my Hini Dawa and Fatin and Embark back, because I believe they're almost out of ammo at this point. So I know I'm going to be able to throw them in. Of course, we managed to beat the Mythori Hattle and Corsair Gladiators up here. Not Mythori Hattle, Nazarin Dukadar or something. Sorry about that, I'm still altering these names, I'm sure of it, but the names are that name's a bit confusing, but I will slowly but surely get it. And now with this spike of 39 more soldiers, or 16 and 22 polar army units we have left, we may just about be able to deal with these guys. Because of that sheer amount of damage, while these guys can hold them back and stop them from hitting us. We've only taken 1 casualty in this fight, it's taken these guys to take a couple. Let us return over here, where you can see that these guys, they've actually managed to make this a much more, well, the fight they would probably actually win. You know, it's only 30. It's only 51 soldiers in their way, you know. So they may just about be able to win. Blood's covering up his eyes, which is just great for him, I guess. So yeah, there's 16 of them left against 45. Actually managed to even this fight out, and their kill count is going to be insane. Also, one massive thing is that no, they're not perpetually routing, but we have 83 of these guys just left. Some Haradrim Auxiliary skirmishers, however, departing from the walls, which is unfortunate, as they're going to be able to flank around here. And you can see I've already had to send in the tin and we're just as numbers really, so that they can't just overrun us. And we're just sending
the enemy are badly bloodied.
Just
they have lost half their men.
Tons of missiles in there, in the hope that we will actually be able to halt this advance of these guys. Unfortunately, having this bodyguard team in there has actually really helped stop the flood of enemies advancing. course, I'm having to send in another unit of archers. Yeah, these guys, they're going to have fairly decent melee defense, you'd have to say, due to the fact they're dual wielders. I do still have another bodyguard unit in reserve, as well as 3 units of macemen, which are still throwing rocks into these guys, of course. But Corsair archers just hanging out. These Castamir's rangers are causing issues. Alright, these guys, with the support of the spears, have managed to deal with them. I'm trying to just send as many soldiers down in here as I possibly can, just to try and finish off these Castamir's rangers once and for all, so their crossbow bolts no longer cause us problems. And yeah, you can see those scimitars that they wield there, sabers. I think it's a scimitar.
Only half our force remains.
It's definitely the right culture for a scimitar, but it's also the right culture for a saber, so I guess we'll never know. I'll call it a scimitar now. But yeah, my Tirithor and Eryn, they're out of ammo now, as you can tell from the fact that some of them are wielding their axes. So I'm just gonna send my Healy Dower. There's only 25 of them left, but I'm just trying to stop these guys from firing desperately. And with 64 Tirithor and Eryn making their way in, that is actually a possibility. Fortunately, my tin and them we are combined with the Mythori and the 5 Mythori Hathel that are still the 1 Mythori Hathel that's still left alive are actually, it appears, winning. I mean, we wouldn't be in such good shape if they sent another unit of pikes in there and sent in these archers and auxiliary skirmishers. Actually, it would probably be enough to maybe turn the tide of this. Don't have many soldiers there. However, it does appear that we are turning the tide of this battle. There's only 6 Castamir's rangers left alive now. The Ebon Legion are desperately trying to just get these guys into melee with them. And these Castamir's rangers are just slowly but surely getting prodded and slapped to death. To the point that now there's only 2 of them. 1 of them. No, still 2 of them. And he is just desperately trying to hold off, and now he's gone. And now it's just the officer left alive. And even he won't be alive for much longer, since he has about 7 spearmen just attacking him at once. And there you can see, as the spear is delivered to his heart, the Castamir's rangers are no more. Now Silver Spears have a much tougher job ahead of them. These Ebon Legion of Umbar, I'm trying to get the charge off, and I've somewhat managed to flank them. But where we're truly going to deal damage is with the Eryn and Eryn getting a flanking charge onto them. See, already these guys have lost them. Like, they're not dying quickly, but they are dying. Like, they've lost 2 men already. So I don't want to lose my Eryn and Eryn. Like, they're going to be a very useful unit in slightly later late game. Because these guys, they don't really have much support. There's only 50, so I've decided to pull these guys off. And leave these guys, just keep them occupied while I put these guys within the settlement and just set them upon the... Yeah, you can see we beat the Gilded Legion of Umbar here with very few men to spare. But 18 men is nothing to be snoozed at. Especially when
our men have slain the enemy general.
The enemy general
Without him, his troops
dead.
will lose their will to fight.
There's only 41 of these guys. 200 Corsair archers will not be up to anything in melee. And my Sylvan Slingers are just proving their worth once again, beating back these Corsair pikemen, Haradrim, Auxiliary skirmishers, and Corsair archers, of course. Putting the Tirithar and Erenor along with the remnants of the Hinidawa unit over here. So just try and deal with these Corsair archers who are deciding to run away. And I also realised that they are actually trying to pull their Ebon Legion of Umbar off of this front line. Surprisingly. And yeah, we've routed off these Haradrim Auxiliary spearmen. We're pulling the Earth and Erenor and the Tirithar and Erenor over here to deal with them. But I am keeping the Hinidawa over here, because I see the fact that the Ebon Legion of Umbar are desperately trying to assist their Corsair Archer brethren. And my Tin and Embark are just getting into the archers on this side. And yeah, the Corsair archers are just routing now. Which is not good for them since they are surrounded on both sides and they're running into the more deadly side, which is an interesting idea. Like, due to their numbers, I think a couple of them are fighting to the death now, so something tells me none of these guys are actually going to escape. Then there's the Corsair pikes that are routing now. Tin and Embark, Sylvan Slingers. Still have that one lone Mythori Hathor unit left. Well, soldier left. Which is, well, good for him. He's managed to survive this battle. And I decided not to send him in because he's done enough. He's got some good kills under his belt. However, I am sending forward a unit of Sylvan Slingers even. Just to get numbers really, because I need to have numbers so I can get around these Ebon Legion of Umbar. As if they can just, if it's like a very similar to one-on-one fight, these guys could possibly win. If they can get their formation into a position they can hold. With 97 Sylvan Slingers coming in. Also them deciding to march into
we will smash the enemy.
My Tirithar and Erenor, which is not a good idea. They're out of position and they're dropping like flies. So yeah, that was not a good decision made by the Adunaroth Empire, if I would have to say. Yeah, my Sylvan Spears are coming down with rules now, so they're still alive. Like, at many points in this battle I was somewhat scared, because it seemed like they were just easily beating their way through whatever I was throwing at them. But
this is
that,
a clear victory!
Got the win. And like, I only had 500 or 600 hours left at the end of there, but I did kill 2,200. Oh my god. Did I actually get 60 friendly fire kills on myself? Okay, no, I didn't. 107 of them got captured. But yeah, I got 2,272 kills. I got an awful lot of kills there. Let's have a look at what did the damage for me. Unsurprisingly, the Tirithar and Erenor dealt massive damage to them, killing 288 soldiers as well as capturing 171 of them. The Hinidawa were doing very nicely as well with 111 kills. My 3 Pillion, one only getting 31. So unfortunately, I'm assuming that was the one that was just overpowered massively. And the other one gets 134. Both my 3 Hathor units doing fairly well, 205 and 158 kills respectively. Which is not half bad if you ask me. 54 kills on one of my 3-8 units. That's probably the one that was going up against the Gilded Legion of Umbar over here. Yeah, I'd say so. Right, 54 kills is not actually half bad. Then the other one getting 122 kills, which obviously is significantly better. Then the Sylvan Slingers proving their worth once again with 124, 91 and 84 kills each. Sylvan Spears showing just what the Elven quality can do with 164 and 73 kills each. And the Eryn and Eryn with a massive 434 kills, easily being the unit with the most kills in my army, and probably with the Adunaroth Empire's army as well. And then the Tin and Emendwia, my axe throwers getting 172 kills, as well as 73 prisoners. Oh my god, I didn't even read that. My Eryn and Eryn are going another 45 captives, which is actually very, very nice. But we'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Feel free to leave a dislike if you didn't. Subscribe if you're new around here to see some more Total War content. But thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.